All right, Phoenix woohoo.
All right. Whoa. Call me the weekday, okay? Because I can't do anything with Phoenix like I do with Gerard Phoenix. Please do not talk about my boy Abel like that. Yeah, we know that he's on drugs, but that's the thing. You know what you're getting.
Dude wrote a
You know
whole
that you're
song
getting.
about being on
You know you're getting
That's
a
right,
dude.
boy. Listen, that was the song.
Listen to this. He got a Kids Awards.
For a song
He
about
got a Kid
cocaine!
Award for a song about coming down from a bag of blow. And he says that. He is not a teen choice. In the Scientology and whatnot, he's gonna stand up on his seat being like, "Oh my god, I love Katie Holmes. I love Katie Holmes.
Oh gosh, Phoenix.
Oh my god, oh my god,
Somebody clip it!
I love Katie Holmes. Katie Holmes."
Like Captain Kirk into Star Wars and like team up Spock and Yoda. Like I think that would be.
You need to just hush and just go somewhere with that disrespectful
And
bullshit.
then take,
you're talking.
like,
Oh,
You're
stop.
about to have
Bigfoot
0
Stop.
viewers.
And his teddy bears
Stop.
and like mix them.
You're fired. You're fired. How dare you disrespect Star Wars with that? Get out. Get out. Get out now.
No!
Out.
No!
Out.
It's my fucking
Think we
stream!
gotta
No
move
more.
on.
You disrespected Star Wars. Get out.
Listen, when we're playing the Star Wars game and you've got Bigfoot and teddy bears running around
That's not
with like
Bigfoot!
llama T-Rex things.
He's
I'm
not a
gonna-
Bigfoot.
Somebody ban Kelly from her own Discord.
Hashtag make a cancel on this
Get out.
motherfucker.
Get out.
Hashtag make a cancel on this non-Star Wars loving motherfucker.
My thing is, if I can't go and say it to my 90-year-old grandmother, I really shouldn't say it. And my 90-year-old grandmother is, she's pretty hip with the times, so.
But Granny's probably seen it all though.
She'd be
But
on
I'm not
Instagram,
gonna-
huh?
but I'm not, well, she probably would because she is still fine for 90. I'm just gonna say that.
Guys,
But,
I got a contract right here.
But I'm not gonna go and be like, yeah, my parents, I had to go and pick them up from their drunk night because my mom peed in my car 3 times.
That is now forever out there. That is for. I'm
Yep.
so sorry, Mama Bonnie, but that is forever cemented in the house. Oh, Phoenix left.
Fucking
Oh my
lost
God.
it.
What are you jamming out to up there?
Dashing through the snow
Oh my God.
in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go.
At least we don't have to worry about At least we don't have to worry about getting DMCA'd because that was beautiful, Phoenix.
Oh, I thank you. My mama says that I would have been a great singer if I wasn't tone deaf. I think that's a compliment or something, but oh well.
Listen, everybody needs to know that they're loved. In my group of friends, I'm always the mom friend. Like, I don't know if it's because I'm a mom or like what it is, but I'm always the mom friend. It's like, are you okay? Did you eat today? Did you drink your water? How did you sleep last night? Did we have good dreams? Like, that's just how it works. Like,
And then I'm the asshole of the friend group, just like, what's up, bitches? I'm here.
I do not know how we are
Fuck
friends.
your feelings. Fuck your life. Bing bong.
Is there anything that you guys know that it's just a no-no? Like, you can't, you've been there, tried that, and that's just something that for the sake of your friendship, you know that you can't ever do that again.
Anal.
That's remember that friendship
Right,
mind
yeah.
you were asking about? Remember when you were like, you guys ever think the same thing? That was it. That was it. You asked that question.
Oh, Lord.
There was no way that was rehearsed, and both of us immediately said the same answer.
Oh, that Why are we flashing the camera? Hello, everybody. Welcome into season 2, episode 2 of Hotmess Hotseat. I almost called it Hotseat Hot Takes. I have a feeling we'll be doing quite a few of those. Why are we flashing?
You're the killer in one of my DVD matches, and I blind you. Oh, wait a second. Let me.
Oh my god.
You know, just get the people what they want, since we're talking about that one word, toxicity, not the System of a Down song, though.
So, yeah, we are. It's me and Phoenix today, and we've got kind of a hot topic that's kind of
Not the store.
not flying through. I wish it was a store though. Like, listen, Hot Topic is amazing. This will be the only time that I acknowledge chat at the beginning of a Hot Seat show. My shirt is not toxic. Go Clemson. That's all I gotta say about that. So,
It is toxic. Y'all had Sarah Jessica Parker for a quarterback for the last 4 years.
oh my god.
And then he went to Jacksonville and just completely shit the bed. Got his coach fired. Like, come on. Like, the last time that Jacksonville was good, my wife was in law school. She was literally the good luck charm.
I didn't know Mrs. Phoenix went to law school.
Yeah, she's a lawyer.
I didn't know that.
What the?
You learn something new every day.
Why do you think that I'm so good with asking so many questions?
Listen.
It's because I get questioned by her every single day of my life.
Well, that's
Like, she'll
just
probably
one of
walk
them.
on the store and be like, "What are you doing there?" I'm doing the podcast. Oh, why? Because it's Saturday. It's the second Saturday that I'm doing this. You know, my other Saturdays are streaming Saturdays. But why? Because I want to be famous. No.
We should have Mrs. Phoenix come on the podcast one day.
Maybe Valentine episode. We'll see.
Let's go. So for those of you who have not seen a Hot Seat live, we talk about all different kinds of things. We've talked about movies and music and friendships and Christmas, and this week we are talking about toxicity versus passion and the difference between the two. Because believe it or not, there is a difference. Although, in my opinion, the line is very thin. So, I'm gonna let Phoenix kind of take it away, sir. Start out slow, and we'll move in. So I hope everybody's got your tea and your popcorn. You're nice and comfy. It's gonna be a great show. I promise. It's gonna be amazing. That's water, sir. That is not tea. I am sipping on G Fuel, so.
Okay, fine. It's like 3-day-old water, but no one's talking.
That's even
And-
worse.
3-day-old water. It's not like I'm drinking like a week-old Gatorade or something, or, you know, just like fizzled out Coke, but, you know, to each their own. Anyways, hello, Hot Seat. I am Professor Phoenix. I'm going through Toxicity versus Passion 101 because I feel like this might not be the one and only episode that we do with Toxicity and Passion, because
Like, it's
honestly,
gonna be a
these are
multi-part.
ever-changing topics.
True.
But anyways, part 1. So, the Webster Dictionary, or I should say the Google Dictionary, because I literally have these all just from Google. And oh, they're using it from Oxford Dictionary. Okay, fine. We'll just go to Oxford University and use whatever they have. The Oxford Dictionary has toxic as 1 or 2 meanings. The first one is poisonous, of course, because when you think of toxic, you think of... When you think of toxic, you actually think of...
He's got props, y'all. Oh no. What are we gonna do? I wasn't prepared for props.
Well, no, because I know like millennials and people like myself that were all like googly-eyed over Britney Spears back in the day. They remember that one video when she was, you know, doing all her stuff. This Britney Spears, the flight attendant Britney Spears.
You have a Britney toxic pop? I'm so jealous.
I have a Oops, I Did It Again pop over here too.
Oh my god, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous.
They actually came in last week. So, anyways, that is not what we're talking about though. We are talking about the poisonous. So you are thinking of a vial of, llama juice that you're trying to kill Emperor Cusco with. And boom, he's actually dead. He doesn't turn into a llama. So dumping of toxic waste, or you drink the toxic vial of Jamba Juice or something like that, or Coke or whatever. You know what I mean. The second part, which is also another adjective, means a very harmful or unpleasant and pervasive and insidious way. Now,
that's a lot of big words.
Yes. And I was thinking, wait a second, let's take a step back real quick, because I don't think people might not know what insidious means except for the movie Insidious. Insidious is a slow, progressive spread of something harmful. So, toxicity in the manner of emotions is going to be something that is not easily seen. It is something that spreads. Give me 1 second, actually. It's something that spreads slowly. So you don't pick up on toxic behavior very quickly. And I think that's the confusion of why I'm usually bothered by people always saying, oh, this is toxic behavior, this, that, and the other, because you got to get to know a person before you label something as toxic.
So what you're saying is there's a difference between being toxic and just being an asshole.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So here's the thing. Being toxic and being an asshole, I am a CPA. I actually have 2 CPA licenses. I'm a certified public accountant, which don't ask me to do your taxes because I don't do that kind of accounting. And I'm a certified painful asshole. The other CPA is me just being brutally honest if you like it or not. You don't have to dig in too deep to figure out, oh, this guy tells it like it is and just says how it sees fit. Toxic is a gradual discoverability of someone's trait, and it actually ends up having you hurt and uncomfortable in a situation. So, can an asshole be toxic? Yes, but you'll have to, discover that as you go in a friendship or a relationship. Because as the definition says, it's a very harmful or very unpleasant and pervasive or insidious way. Pervasive, in case anybody doesn't know, it's a widespread, a very widespread based of a degree. So I can be rude to you in just a very small idea, but that does not make me toxic or does not make an individual toxic. So for example, since we're on Twitch and we're in majority of the gaming world, in the main games that I play, a lot of people's behaviors, for example, the flashlight, people say that that's toxic because you're clicking it. Listen, the game will only go for 10 to 15 minutes. If the survivors get the generators done, they don't really need to worry. You don't need to worry about them after the game. So is that really toxic, or is that just, bad behaviors on their part or something that is irritating you? And if you think it's the former, then I think you need to turn the game off real quick and just, enjoy, some other game or time with people for a little bit and just relax. Just relax, dog.
Honestly, for me, so DVD for me is toxic in the sense that when I first started playing it, I really liked it. But as I continued to play it, I just felt myself getting more and more ragey and just a not very nice person to be around. And after
Okay.
about a month and a half of it, I was like, I cannot play this game anymore because it makes me just a very unpleasant person. So I stopped
Okay.
playing it for a while, and then I came back to it, and I played it like twice, and I was like, nope, still makes me unpleasant. But if I handle it in small doses, it's okay. So I guess that makes sense that you say, that it takes a build up. Like, you have to really get into it. Because being ragey over something, or something making you ragey, I mean, a lot of people rage on COD. A lot of people rage on Rocket League. A lot of people, like, any kind of competitive thing. But it was making me, like, even after I turned it off, I was just in a really pissy mood. And it wasn't like that when I first started doing it. When I first started doing it, it was really fun. But then the more I played it, the more I was like, oh no, it's definitely a toxic game to me in that sense. Like, it's just it's not a great game.
And yeah, I guess person A or person whatever playing said, specific game that creates a very unpleasant environment for both the person and the people surrounding it, which streamer and people, because literally I've watched people either play DVD or even the show, and it's sometimes they're just yelling at their screen and it's just becoming unpleasant. They're throwing stuff. I'm guilty of that with the show sometimes off stream. It just becomes a very toxic nature. Now, the things that are going on in the actual game itself, I don't think it's toxic because it's not, that gradual buildup. Now, things that do go on in there, or like the output that you have is definitely toxic. So at that point, that's why I'm saying, like, the way that we do use words change and they're overused, which is why I was joking about the fact that, we might have to have a part 2 or part 3 later down the road. But for the time being, the actions that you have output into the reaction of a game, I think that's more the online or on the board definition of the second definition of toxic, instead of just, somebody getting in your head and causing you to have uncontrollable emotions over the situation, which I would believe is passion. Do you like that segue over into the second definition, or the definition of passion right there?
It's beautiful.
So, and that's why I think that there needs to be a fine line between what you're passionate about and what is actually toxic traits or toxic behavior in certain situations like that. So,
do you find there's a difference between the official definition of toxic and a social definition of toxic? Because I believe that those are two different things too. Like, just the official definition, not necessarily talking about, like poison or waste or whatever, just like in general. Mm-hmm. And then social toxicity, I feel like, is a whole other animal.
Yes.
So, for you, what's the difference between where you can label a person as you are a very toxic human being versus your behavior is toxic? Because I feel like that's the difference between labeling someone as toxic or just something that they're doing is toxic.
Oh, that is a great question. Since a lot of us are on social media such as TikTok, or like I'd like to call it TikToxic, Twitter, YouTube, the comment section can be rough. Like, it's just bad sometimes.
Gotta love keyboard warriors.
Yeah, it's just there is a certain degree, and I've just developed it myself to where I'm thinking, what actually is something that is probably bait, or what is something that is going to actually create toxicity, applying, the actual definition. So here's my thing. People will talk all the shit that they want to talk. That's why it's called shit talking. I post something on TikTok about something awesome that I see or that I did in, a game, or something that I observed in a movie, and I get ripped to shreds because of it. I get like 50, 60 comments, just like, a simulated scenario. Blaze at 420 says, "Oh, your statement is invalid," or something, this, that, and the other. You have a big nose or whatever. Your glasses are too huge on your face. That's just him trying to get a comment out. Thank you for boosting my algorithm with, your dumb comment, but that's not going to bother me too much because it's just like I can't really control my bodily features. I mean, I can, but I kind of like them the way that they are. um, Another one, and trigger warning for some people, is just like, this is the stupidest take ever. Why don't you just go off yourself? That's a toxic statement. That is socially toxic responses that are typically seen. If you're really going out of your way to insinuate or incite someone to create harm to themselves or others, I'm sorry, you're a toxic individual, and you don't have to immediately expedite, or you don't have to go through the process of figuring it out. If somebody's telling you to off yourself, then yeah, that's toxic right there. And I think with social media, that does expedite the whole process, plain and simple. And I know that you're probably wanting me to, go maybe into the Discord venture and everything too, because I've got stories about that. Even recent stories.
Listen, I'm not making you go anywhere. You go where you want to go. Like, and I will
Okay.
follow.
All right, fine. I mean, you're following me everywhere. Hopefully, if you guys aren't following me, I think all the stuff is down
Almost all
down
of it, yeah,
below.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty
So,
thorough.
so Discord is another pool of environment that you can be in green grass, sunshine, and rainbows one day, and then you can be at the nuclear power plant the next, trying to figure out, okay, what the hell did I get myself into? So that one is, again, another like slow, gradual one that I think that you'll have to dive into yourself. You'll have to fill people out because there are definitely a lot of masks on Discord, at least. But some of the servers that I've fortunately got kicked and banned out of for being quoted or being labeled toxic, I think it's just more of the fact that some people were a little bit sensitive to what I had to say. And honestly, I think that's another situation of how toxicity can vary from different people to people, because it's a different gauge. It's kind of like poison in a way, where, or actually drugs, or certain things like I am not going to be prescribed the same kind of powerful medication that a smaller child or teenager is going to be prescribed, because we have different body types and everything like that. So maybe if I give somebody my, I don't know, whatever drug we want to talk about, prescription or whatever, Tylenol, it might knock the kid out within minutes. Where me, I'm just like, if I get his, it's like, what? So having that said, that's where some of those online conversations might be a little bit skewed because of someone's, I guess, toxicity limit or bias, or however you want to describe that.
I think
Because
it's a
also
good
things
point
can be,
because
yeah, go ahead.
so my first couple interactions with you, fun fact, funny story, when we first interacted, I was like, yo, there's a stick up this guy's ass. Like, I almost immediately labeled you as toxic because you were just very blunt and raw and to the point. And it was just like, nope, I said what I said. And if you don't like it, I don't give a fuck. Like, I said what I said. And so I was just like, damn, like, who hurt you that you have to be this way? And then when I got to know you, I was like, I completely judged a book by its cover because I was like, oh, wait, he's really not. So you're really not this like toxic person that people are very quick to label you with because you're just honest. And I think that a lot of people see that toxic or honesty as a toxic trait. it's become like everyone's like, oh, I value honesty, I value, you know, not bullshitting and just telling me exactly how you feel or what you think or whatever. And then you do that and they're like, oh, you're toxic. No, you just don't like what I have to say. Like, that's not the same thing. So I think that's a good way to look at it, because like I can look back now and be like, man, I really misjudged him. And there are a few people that I have, it's been the opposite, where I'm like, this is the least toxic person that I've ever like met or interacted with. They're amazing. And then come full circle, I'm like, oh, but it's not. It's like when you bite into an apple that looks good and then it's nothing but like brown rot in the apple. Like, it can go both ways, and hidden toxicity is awful, because I feel like someone who's just bluntly upfront, even with, they're just ridiculous, saying things, well, even not even you, just like an actual toxic person, like the person that tells you to go off yourself, like that person, if you're willing to say that over a comment, 9 times out of 10 you've said something similar, if not worse, in person. So I'm gonna label you as someone, as a toxic human being, because you don't just say shit like that and then on the outside or in real life or whatever you're all fuzzy and warm. That's not how it works. So I forgot where I was going with that. But basically, like, I feel like the internal toxicity that you find out the hard way, I feel like that hurts more than someone who's just bluntly upfront about it. And there's not liking people, and then there's toxic behavior. I mean, there's no other way. I guess I should have looked up synonyms for toxic. Like, I don't want to keep saying the same thing. But I mean, it's just, that's essentially, that's what it is. Like, people who hide it or hide behind it, is it hurts way more, especially when it comes to friendships or like in the streaming world, like collaborations and things like that. It really ruins the outlook. And I think not too long ago, without going into super detail, you and I are having a conversation, and I was explaining how I had been hurt, and you literally said, I guess the moral of the story is don't meet your heroes. And that hit me so hard, because I was like, you know, like, it just, and I feel like it's, you know, as you, especially in streaming world and gaming or YouTubing and vlogging or anywhere where there's not a sense of normal anonymity, and you're like, you're more out there, and your face and your name and your personality, I feel like the more you get out there, the more the real you is going to come through. And that's not always a good thing for some people. And that's where toxicity, especially social toxicity, comes in handy. Because if you are socially just unapproachable, like in every way, chances are that person is not going to be a great person in general. And 9 times out of 10, they're mostly going to be a toxic person. However, the same thing could be said to people who are extremely approachable. If you're overly approachable, there's something there that you're just missing. And taking the blinders off is not always fun. Like, it's not.
Oh yeah.
It's not great. So I agree. I can appreciate the fact that, you know, I made a huge mistake when I first originally, and I know I've told you that 1,000 times. I'm like, man, when I first met you, I couldn't stand you. Like, I thought you were the worst person in the world. And then I got to know, I actually had a conversation. And I think that's the difference between labeling someone as toxic and then actually knowing that they're toxic. Because you can't have a conversation with toxic people. You'd have a better conversation with a brick wall.
Like, I mean, you definitely can have a conversation with a toxic person. I've had a conversation with toxic people a lot. At least like from the realm of one. Let me explain. I've had a number of conversations with people on at least my personal toxic scale that I thought would be of benefit to both of us. It ended up not working so hot. Now, here's the thing: I didn't realize how toxic they were until that business arrangement was severed. Um, and shit, I'll go ahead and go into terms and everything. There was this owner of a gaming organization called Spartan Gaming. Ironically, the dude's name was Spartan. He talked a lot of game about how he will, try to get my name out there, have my brand on the website, and have the merch and whatnot. I did express, I guess, maybe not in the most direct, but still on a general term of detail, how I was not happy with how at least the Real Phoenix TV brand is getting represented through Spartan Gaming. And so I said, let's lay off of the constant liking and retweeting of my posts and tweeting of my going live things, because that's honestly not what I do. Like, I don't really do that much. I mean, I might have done it a couple times now and a couple times before I, actually started streaming, but I don't do it anymore because if you guys want to watch me, you guys know where to find me. You guys got going live notifications that get sent to Twitch. I shouldn't, abuse it. If Twitter should be used for all this other stuff. What does he do? He goes through and unfollows me on Twitter instead of just, listening to my advice there. And I'm the type of person that's just like, okay, if you want to, sever ties, go ahead and do it, because I'll be loyal to you until the end. And so he, decided, was just like, all right, part ways. And I just wanted one thing in return. And it was vector files for the new logo that they had provided, so I can, continue with the merch. And that was provided in 3 or so days. It was a very slow process. And then the morning that they did provide it, him and his business partner left a DM chat. It was just like, oh, I'll support you regardless, this and that, blah, 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 blah. But I'm going to leave, unfollow you off everything. And ironically, his business partner liked a tweet from a, what is it called? Warm 3 lives or warm 3 bodies that you always say.
Warm 3
Ice 9
lives.
kills.
Ice 9 kills is warm 3 lives.
Yes, warm 3 lives. An Ice 9 kills post that I think liked to retweet or something of the sort, saw that and then unfollowed. Just like, how dense can you guys be? And I'm sorry for being so mean about it, but like, why? And that is very subtle toxicity. And I probably even shouldn't label as toxicity, but it's kind of an unpleasant thing, when you just see like, okay. But then the toxicity spreaded across because of the fact that we had a mutual friend that we supported in the streaming world, where he does a digital wrestling e-federation, and his avatar lost his championship to my avatar, and I was very passionate about it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, because I want my character to be the top at the freaking bill and whatnot. I always joke around about that. And he finally got his championship, and I was excited. And so I said, like, welcome to Dubson Island, bitch. And he took it personal. He thought I was being toxic back. So then he unfollowed the mutual streamer. I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Why? So that's why I'm saying
less toxic and more childish, honestly.
Well, again, it's very, the definition, very harmful or very unpleasant in a pervasive and insidious way. So I go back and forth saying, was it toxic or was it childish and petty? I think it's a combination of both, depending on who is in this situation. The only reason that I say it's a toxic reaction is because the streamer lost I would say, longtime viewer, because he definitely followed for at the inception of this wrestling e-fed and way before that, and made me wait a very long amount of time to send me files and unfollow me off of everything because he, was offended that I kind of just, was brutally honest about the representation of my brand in his org. I mean, it is what it is at that point. I think that the proper way, and this is just my opinion, the proper way is okay, here are your files. Sorry to see you go. Let's come back to the table and talk again if need be. And end it at that. Don't leave a server. Don't kick me out because all that shit. Just understand that this is how it is right now. I've got bigger goals and aspirations. And unfortunately, I think that we came to an agreement that we don't, that I don't really align with what you guys are trying to do. You guys aren't, keeping your side of everything going on. But
I
instead,
think there's something to be said with. Never mind. I'm not. Nope. Never mind. Continue.
I was gonna say instead that whole situation happened, and I still have a follow on him, just not to keep tabs or anything, just just to see how the growth is going. I actually have a tab on all the people or all the toxic folks just to see how they're doing. Maybe just because I'm purely lazy at unfollowing folks, which is why I have so many people that I follow. But you know, eventually it'll all be water under the bridge. It'll all boil over, and I won't have to, or none of us will have resentment. So, yeah.
So that kind of segues into my next thing. So there's constructive criticism, and there's helping
Mhm.
someone out, and then there's just flat out toxic commentary. What is the difference between the two? Like raw constructive criticism that's not like, listen, I'm not trying to be your best friend, but I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but this is how it is, versus bing bong, fuck your life.
Well, Bing Bong Fuck Your Life is a meme, so let's just get that out there.
Listen,
But
okay.
the constructive criticism is it goes back to consent 101. It's warranted versus unwarranted criticism.
Okay.
So prime example, we talk a lot. We talk a lot about how is Hotmess Hotseat going, how the overlays look, how life in general is. And there's some kind of element where, either you or me want to hear something, some kind of feedback, whether it's good or bad. There is that indication. Toxic criticism or toxic, what did you call it?
Toxic commentary.
Toxic commentary. That is commentary that, let's see, great example, and I feel bad for outing myself on this, but we're all guilty of it in some way, shape, or form.
100%.
Eventually, oh man, I effed up this horrible thing. Like, I should have listened to you to begin with. Yeah, I fucking told you so. And you could have the fucking or not. Like, I told you so. You shouldn't have done this. Like, this was a horrible idea. That's why I told you not to do that. Like, we've all probably heard this from a specific parent, brother, sister, mentor. It's just like, but you gotta let the kids, scrape their knees while they're walking or running before you say I told you so. Like, you could probably just be like, oh man, I scraped my knee. What did I do wrong? It's just like, well, as I told you before. And that's a little bit more constructive because the person that, is the victim is now realizing the error of their ways, and they want that guidance and redirection on how to not make that happen again, so they don't have to have the peroxide on the wound ever again. But yeah, so that is at least my thought process of the toxic commentary. And I am thinking back to just my interactions and how, you saw me as just an asshole. There are a number of situations where I was with Psychic Gaming where I saw, self promos and things like that, and just got really frustrated. And at that point, I told people, like, nobody fucking cares about your Twitch. Like, stop self promoting. But again, there were situations where it was them literally posting every single day and not even changing their title. And I still see that within servers now. And I still want to be like, I don't care. I don't care that you're 1% and you have a 4.20 KD in a 69 kill high game. I don't care. Like, nobody actually asked for that in the title either way. Like, make something clickbaity instead of just giving me stats. Like,
I mean,
but
there's. So I think. I'm trying to word this carefully. Like, for me, I think the difference is kind of touching on a little bit like what you were just saying. Whether it can be deemed as toxic or constructive depends on the delivery. Because essentially, and like you said, we're all guilty of it. There is not a person, including my 9-year-old son, that has never been toxic ever before. They've never said anything or done anything that can be considered toxic. Again, including my 9-year-old child. Like, it is just, in fact, kids are probably some of the most toxic human beings on the earth, because they just say everything. I mean, they say everything, and they don't think about it because they haven't learned how to properly use that mind filter until someone really puts them in their place. And it's one of those things. But for me, I think the difference, like I said, is how you deliver it. Because there's a way, especially when someone's like, oh, I did this and I worked really hard on this. God knows that you and poor French get DM'd at the most odd times where I'm like, I just finished this and it's so awesome. And I'm sure there are probably times where you guys are like, no, like what? But there's a difference of going, okay, that's cool. What if we do this? Or have you considered trying it this way? Or, I mean, I'm not at this point now, like, I guess that was a bad example, because if you guys messaged me and you were like, that was just shit, I'd be like, oh, okay. Well, and I would just kind of like take it as it went.
Yeah.
But there's a way to say something to help somebody than flat out just wreck their shit. I mean, it's just, you could come in here and be like, Cali, your stream is shit, your graphics are shit, your sound is shit,
oh man,
everything is just shit. Like, you just quit. And that is toxic to me versus you being like, okay, I see where you're going. Great job. And I think that's my rule for, like, when somebody asks for criticism. I do the whole, 2 compliments and a whatever. Like, that's, I can't think of what the whatever is called that I'm looking, critique. 2 compliments and a critique. Usually I go, you're doing this well, here's your critique, here's what you're doing well. I sandwich it all together. Because,
like a sandwich.
Yeah, it's easy to be like, okay, your vision's really awesome. You're doing really great with ABC. You need to fix XYZ because blah, blah, blah. But your energy's still really great and everything's really, you're doing really good. And that applies within content creation. It applies within life. Okay, so now I can pull that into being a parent, because I am a parent. And I am not, it almost makes me like crawl a little bit when people are like, oh my God, you're such an awesome mom. Because I'm like, but I'm not. Like, it's just not, it really frustrates me. There's a lot of things that my kid does that just frustrates me. Caden has his own challenges that he goes through, and they trigger a lot of my own personal issues, and then that comes out. But I'm not above apologizing. And that's the difference between being toxic and just being real. Where there's been times where I've said something to someone and I've just like popped off, including my kid. And then I'm like, that was really shitty of me and I shouldn't have said that and I'm really, really sorry. That was unacceptable. And then there are times where, like, my husband has even said, okay, but that's really how you feel, so don't apologize for it. And I was like, yeah, but I should have said it a little bit different. Like, there's a way of saying, hey, I really don't like that you're doing this, versus you're a fucking idiot. I mean, there's part of my French, but like that's the difference between being toxic and being constructive and helpful.
Yeah.
For me.
And I know that you've had those situations where it's just like you want to go about it in that, I guess, high road and beat around the bushes kind of way. And we just go back to, it just depends on the person, the type of delivery that you
This is
want.
true.
Because if you do that with, I don't know, someone who just wants straightforward answers, they're gonna, probably not receive it well. But if you do the inverse with somebody who's emotionally fragile, you may get blasted on Twitter for it, and all your DMs are out there.
This is true. It's definitely one of those, I think, from person to person, and that's another thing about toxicity in general, right? Is that it varies literally from person to person to person. Like, there is not one person that is the same as some. Like, I could come to you and be like, this is fucking awful, but I could not do that with a few of my other friends. I'd have to not eggshell step it, but I'd have to be a lot more careful with how I said what I said, and actually look up synonyms for certain words, because it's just, at the end of the day, yeah, my point is the same. Like, it's shitty, you shouldn't have done that, but how it's going to be, especially when it comes to friends versus friends, right? And you're trying to remain neutral and the middleman, and you're just like, no, but how you tell this person, no, you're wrong, like, you just can't do that, like, that's not what I'm doing, versus, okay, I see your point, let's see how we can alter it. Like, that's you know what I mean? Like, it's really hard. And as a person who, it brings us into a next point, is like inner toxicity of yourself, where if you're constantly trying to people please, which is something I do a lot, it is one of my biggest fatal flaws, as I am a people pleaser. I don't like upsetting people 9 times out of 10. Now, my husband, if he was sitting right here, he'd be like, I strongly disagree. She's lying. Like, because there are times where I'm just like, you're a fucking idiot and I can't stand you, like, go away. But I would never say that to, like, one of my friends. I'd just be like, okay, I gotta go do something, literally anything else. Like, but because I don't want to upset people. I feel like the closer people are to you, the more that wall comes down, and the more you feel that it's okay to kind of sit in that toxicity that you have. But your inner voice is probably one of the most toxic things in the world. I mean, we're all, especially in content creation, we are our own worst critic. And there's a difference between critiquing yourself and just flat out, like, steamrolling everything that you do. So, that's just kind of, again, it's all about delivery, like how you deliver it. And you have to almost train yourself not to be toxic or whatever, unless you just give no shits about what you're putting out there. And it's because it's very easy, especially in content creation, to see something. We see it all the time. These bigger streamers, they do stupid shit or say something stupid, and then next thing you know, they're coming back with like this mass apology because they've done pissed off, tens of thousands of people over something that they said that in their head was like, that really wasn't even that bad, but okay, I'm sorry, like, I really truly apologize, I didn't see it that way. And that's the difference between someone who's toxic and someone who's not, is the person that's willing to apologize. And that's kind of what I meant earlier when I was like, you can't really have a productive conversation with a toxic person, because if they're set in that way of just being rude and an asshole, there's you could talk till you're blue in the face and can't breathe anymore, and it's not gonna matter, because they're just broken.
Yeah.
There is no productivity there. Like it's just they're just broken. Like you just can't. You can't reason with people who are just set that way. And it's if you're willing to go to war with every single person that you and every interaction that you have and every person that you come across, to me that is someone who is toxic because you're not willing to take a step back and see the other person's point of view and go, okay, I see your point. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. And it's not even so much as apologizing. It's just recognizing that they have emotion and feeling too. And being like, okay, because my whole thing about apologizing, I don't say sorry unless I genuinely mean it. So if I hurt your feelings and you're looking for me to be like, oh, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings, you might get I'm sorry that you feel that way, but I'm not sorry for what I said. Like I said what I said and I meant it. And it's just, I don't know. Does that make sense?
No, it makes it makes a ton of sense. You can't be the keeper of how people feel about what you say. So at that point, you have something that you're going to stand your ground on, whether it be a matter of passion or toxicity. It is what it is. It's their role to just react the way that they need to react to it. Again, it goes back to, playing that good old simulator, toxic simulators, I typically call it, either MLB or DVD. Whatever they do, it's whatever. Like, if you're really going to tell somebody to off themselves because of, some unfortunate circumstances that hindered you from winning a game or from getting somewhere, congratulations, you're a toxic piece of shit. Here, have trash because you are actual trash. But actually thinking about it as well too, I'd love to talk about the content realm. I don't know why, because there's so much drama.
Makes sense. That's where we are right now.
True, exactly. I've been privileged to be around for a couple of partner pushes, whether directly or indirectly related to it. I have seen partner A. Congratulations to that partner, by the way. He knows who he is. Just be very chill about it. He played one specific game, was really good at it. I think he was ranked like number 2 with his main. Applied for it 3 or 4 times. The 4th time that he applied for it, he had the numbers. He was really close. Was denied. Ended up taking a step back to focus on his family and also cryptocurrency and all that stuff. Came back surprisingly to unbeknownst to my knowledge. Came into my chat with this check mark, and I'm like, "Holy shit, you made it!" And he's just like, "Yeah, I've been grinding another game out and whatnot, and just like focusing on other stuff while I took a break, but I'm getting back into it. But it's nice to see that you're still doing this as well because I really liked you." It's like, oh, cool. People don't really think that I'm toxic. Again, being very chill, having another thing focused on the side that didn't take up too much of his time and didn't alter his mindset. And then partner B, who I was a good friend with, unfortunately, I guess our true colors showed to each other, and it wasn't a good fit for either one. I unfortunately wasn't around for his partner push, but again, I told you that I still follow the people that don't support me, but I just want to make sure, I'm still around to see how they're doing. Even if I'm not viewing, I still see like, oh, damn, go you. Like, damn, you killing you crushing it though. Because, again, I still wish them the best. It's just like, we can't eat at the same table. Understandable. Partner B, unfortunately, was just hyper fixated a lot on how to improve the stream at the expense of, I guess, the quality of it and how he was treating the people around him. He was putting nose to grindstone, essentially. He wanted this. Like, he was hungry for it. Applied, 5 or 6 times. After the 6th time, I think
I heard him say like, if I don't get this, I'm quitting and going somewhere else. It's just like, okay. And I think that he got it. Yeah, he got it on like the seventh try. Congratulations again to him. Um, just a different dynamic. I'm close friends with a couple of his mods in there, and they just say that after every stream, it's the live summary and all that. And again, my original occupation, not the fake CPA license that I told you guys, the other CPA license. I analyze numbers on a daily, and looking at numbers every day, it's very unhealthy. But it is what it is, because that's the structure of our company. But for something like this, it's just yeah, you definitely want to have those numbers be looked at, but at least like keep it to yourself, or don't blow up on the volunteers of your mod team with it. It's something that you will have to make sure that you are in control of, or you're managing, because they're not like me, paid to make recommendations and everything. They're just there to volunteer. Now if money was involved, I'd be like, this is a completely different story for the mods. But
That's your job,
um
literally.
yeah, again, I feel like it puts the mods in a very unpleasant position for them to do work for you, because of the fact that they could easily say fuck off, leave the server, and say I don't want to be mod anymore, block you on Twitch and all that stuff. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's where the passion needs to kind of live outside of the toxicity. And unfortunately for this situation, like, it lives with it, because yes, we can see that you're very passionate about the numbers, and you're passionate about growth and development, and just wanting to make sure that everything is perfect. But please do not put that at the expense of the people that are considered your friends, family, to once again do it for you, or um, put them in uncomfortable positions of ultimatums, or make them feel bad because they've got things that they want to do, personal hobbies, or family stuff. Because again, wish the guy great that he made it. I don't think that he has to fret about it anymore, and he can continue, growing at his own pace. But at the end of the day, it really is just a check mark, and not a token of toxicity or passion. Because again, we're all people. We all have flesh and blood that bleeds and has the same functions and whatnot. It's just not it's just not feasible to do that, um at that point. So that's just my 2 cents on it, at least within the creation realm. Because once again, the main point of it is that you can have passionate toxicity, if you want to call it that.
I mean, that's a thing. And I think especially within content creation, that's a perfect way to label it, is, passionate toxicity. Because content creation as a whole is probably one of the most toxic worlds I've ever been involved in. I mean, and I've done quite a few things. Like, back in the day, I used to cheerleading is super toxic. Like, it is, you would think that a bunch of, girls and guys that are literally cheering people on, like, how could that be toxic? Oh, but it is.
Yeah.
But like, content creation is another one of those things where literally every single thing you do is being analyzed by someone somewhere. And it doesn't get easier the bigger you get. If anything, in my opinion, it gets harder. Like, there is something to be said that for smaller streamers, yes, it is. It's hard. It's hard trying to push content when, you're sitting at less than desirable numbers, or whatever it is that you want to, you're not reaching whatever goals that you're trying to hit. But once you hit those goals, it's not like it just magically stops. Like, you have to push even harder, especially once you get you get there, you make it, whatever, you have your verified on whatever you're trying to be verified on.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to take it. Okay, so what's the next step? If you're not prepared for what the next step is, I was watching a stream by, I can't think of what his name is right now. Zach Bussey. There we go. Or Busse, or however you say his last name.
I think it's called Bussy.
So he
Like what Bussy hurts.
He's a great person to get information from. And I recently figured out, like, I have followed him on Twitter for a hot minute, but I just recently, within the last month or so, realized that he live streams too. And I started tuning into his streams, and his last stream, he was kind of talking about that, about why do you want the check mark? Like, what is it to you? And a lot of people are like, oh, I want more emotes. Like, emotes is a thing. Okay, that's great. But for me, like, what my vision is, if we ever get to that point where we are, at the point where we can get a check mark, for me, it's about the sponsorship opportunities that don't just automatically happen because you're partnered on Twitch. However, it does unlock the doors. It might not open them, but it unlocks it. Because a lot of companies, I don't want to say all, because there are companies that will look at you regardless of whether you have a check mark or not. But a lot of companies will consider you longer if you have that stamp of approval on whatever platform that you're trying to get it on, right?
Yeah,
they're going to be like, okay, a platform has decided to invest in this person, and that in itself can be toxic, because now you're pushing for approval from people that you really don't even necessarily want to know, but that also can bring back into your toxic, or your, what do we call it, passionate toxicity.
Yeah, passionate toxicity. And I think that, and sorry for taking the mic, but I think that coming up with this term passion toxicity, I do want to, I guess, give it a definition. So in case anybody is watching this VOD on YouTube, go sub to the YouTube as well. But passionate toxicity, at least in the Real Phoenix TV dictionary, yes, that will be coming out sometime in 2023, by the way. The excessive, compulsive, irrational process of insinuating your passion of whatever degree or field to others to invite some kind of uncomfortability or some kind of or to create some false or some narrative that people are behind. So yes, in a way, you're kind of forming a cult. And I'm all about cults. So yes, I do have some kind of passionate toxicity within me. I guess that's why I'm the passionate toxicity expert.
I mean, it's like a forced obligation,
oh,
right?
Man.
Like, and the more... So that also brings into... We're just going to attach toxicity to everything. So there's toxic loyalty. That when you are coming across somebody who's so passionate about something, like, it's just, they're just tunnel vision, right? And that's all they see, and that creates your passionate toxicity. But then that also creates toxic loyalty, where you have people who will, for lack of a better word, ride or die for you, despite their own mental capacity to ride or die for you. Like, it creates this where you're just like, damn, I feel obligated that I have to do this now because this person did XYZ. And that is also something that I am very, very guilty of not.
Oh, wait a second, Cali.
What?
So let me go fish back into my content world real quick. You're talking about support for support, right?
That is a perfect example of toxic loyalty and toxic passion toxicity, whatever. I don't even listen. Support for support is probably one of the biggest poisons within content creation. I watched you, I said to you, I gave few days. You have to do all that for me, right? And it creates this awful thing that is it's just awful. Like it's awful for everyone involved except for the person who can't see it. And if you have your blinders on because all you see is what you're doing and you're just seeing this and everybody, oh great, awesome, but all you see is this is all you see, it makes you just as bad as the people who just blindly follow you. I mean, you've got, because then it's like, oh, well, or the people who go into bigger streamers like, this is a terrible thing because I don't know any big streamer. I just realized this the other day that like huge streamers, like where you go into like Pokimane and stuff like that, I've literally never watched not one of the big streamer streams because I don't like them. Like I feel like if you lose touch with why you're doing it.
I'm never going to be a big streamer. Just so Cali can keep liking.
No, I mean, there's something to be, I mean, and it's obviously it changes. When you're streaming to 50,000, 60,000 people, then listen, Pokimane can come for me. Like, if she's paying attention to me, bring it on, honey. Like, I'm not saying she's a toxic streamer. Like, I really don't know anything about her other than her most recent drama that she's going through with Ninja and somebody else. But, like, I don't even know. Like, it's, when she streams to, you know, the one stream that I happened to tune into where she was covering the drama she was going into, she literally had 62,000 people. And how do you continue to personalize content for that many people? Like, it's impossible. You can't do it. There's no way.
So side point for that. I guess this is gonna be my little hot take right here. As I delete the passion tab. I don't think that. Well, I think that after you get into the realm of the 10,000 mark, because I know some streamers that are in the 1,000 mark of CCV, like 1,000 viewers. The content does not go from personalized, or it goes from personalized to entertainment. So this is why I don't believe that a lot of people that do this content creation thing understand that, and you've got to know your role. And I'll throw it out there as well. For me, I don't just want to be the entertainer, or sorry, I don't want to be the close, intimate, personal streamer for all of my life. I want to end up being that grand entertainer. But for now, I have to play the role as the, regular. I have my 10 to 20, regular folks in here and interact with them. And then once that happens, the inner circle that I see, the 10 to 20, I can actually invite them and collaborate with them. And I don't think that's, rude or anything, because they'll still be a part of, the bigger picture of the Rising and all that. The role just changes from viewer to somebody actually involved with what's going on. Like Mr. Beast. I don't think that anybody is bitching about being Mr. Beast's friend. Because those guys are getting paid. Like, every video. Like, I'm dropping $1 million on a private island and, giving it to one of my friends.
It definitely comes into meeting people where you are. Like, your inner circle doesn't necessarily shrink. It just becomes more private the bigger you get.
Oh, yeah.
Because
definitely.
It's easy for me to, like, for example, right now, I could literally, everybody who's hanging out in our live stream, in our chat, because I know this plays on YouTube later. So the people who are here now, like, I know you by name. Like, I know who you are. I could just briefly
like legit
glance
first
over.
name basis, by the way.
Like, I could just briefly glance over and be like, currently Bonnie Draws is in our chat right now. And I could be like, Bonnie, how was your art stream earlier? because I know for a fact that that's what happened. Now, if I'm streaming every day to 60,000 people, I still might be like Bonnie, but the chances of me seeing her message pop up through the chat are going to be a lot smaller. Not at all. Okay, so then there's the other side of it where it's like, okay, it's easier for me to get to know newer people that pop up in chat at this moment in time, because I know as much as you hate when streamers classify themselves as a small streamer, but essentially that is what I am. I am a small streamer. But you are a small streamer until you're streaming to 1,000 plus people, in my opinion. The person that's streaming to 120 people is, to me, still a small streamer. Like, that is your community might be huge. Like, you might have 107,000 followers, but you're only streaming to 127 of them. That's only 10% of your community that you're still talking to.
Listen, I'm playing a game or doing something outside of my niche. Don't at me like that, all right? I have 1,000 CCV, bruh.
It's just one of those things that's just like, you have to be willing to be where you're at. And so, kind of stepping away from toxic for a second, let's jump into passion, and we'll take a break with toxic. We'll come back to her. I'm sure she'll need us.
Passion.
So what is your definition? Not your Webster definition. What is your definition of passion? We're even gonna make it even more specific. What is your definition of passion within content creation?
Oh God.
I'm just gonna throw
yes.
it all the way
So. Oh man, the curveball. Let me see if I can hit it. No. Oh. It's been a while since I've been to the cages. You know this. All right. So my definition of passion, at least, I'm just gonna go ahead with the general term. So
he said, "Fuck you and your plan. I'm gonna do with it anyway." Stop being toxic, Phoenix. Just kidding.
I want to say, I mean, and I know that it's probably going to fall within the same Oxford Dictionary, but it is definitely an uncontrollable whirlwind of emotions that cannot be rationalized. Excitement also falls into that. But yeah, I would say that it's emotions that are uncontrollable and cannot be rationalized.
See, for me, it's drive. Passion equals drive. The higher your drive, the more closer it is to a passion than it is a job. Because if you hate your job or you hate whatever you're doing, you're going to do it slow. You're going to cut corners if you can. You're gonna, you're not, because you're just not invested in it. That's what I should say. Drive and investment is passion. Because the more you invest yourself in something, the more drive you have to do it. That shows that you're passionate about it. You're not going to have a high drive or a high investment in something that you just could give two shits about.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. like a day job for some people that, I still question. It's like, why are you in that day job if you're not passionate about it? And don't give me the excuse, well, it's the only thing that I have left, because anybody who has a dream or a goal chasing, hey, probably segueing into another episode in a couple weeks. If you guys have goals, or if you guys have dreams, or that plan of what you want to do, you're methodically thinking about it. Like, at least for me, from a personal standpoint as well, I was not very passionate about where I lived 2 years ago. So I made some plans to get out of the situation that I was in. I was actively looking for newer opportunities. Now, unfortunately, the decision was expedited in some way, and I had a bigger drive, a little lull because of what happened. But after the fact, I had a higher drive to, achieve the goals. And it was, I would say, like a year-long process to get to where I'm at today, at a company that I really enjoy working for, in a field that I didn't know much about, and I'm still learning a lot more about in this term. And it wouldn't have been. I call it my. Ironically, I'm calling it this with the news that has been flooding in today. It's called the Tom Brady complex. And I know that a lot of people are just going to be like, cancel Phoenix because he's a Patriots fan. But Tom Brady, I feel it. I know that Bonnie's going to say it because you Steelers fans.
Listen, it's okay. Our quarterback
But-
sat down too, so it's all good.
Exactly. But when I was Tom Brady is toxic. That's a topic for another discussion. So when I was younger, I didn't really watch the NFL that much, and then I got into it, I guess, like on a random Monday Night Football, and then did more, I guess, YouTube videos, watching in later in my life and whatnot. Still haven't watched Man in the Arena yet. Probably save that for another time. But Tom Brady was drafted in the 2000. Yeah, so 2000. Wow, crazy. NFL draft at 199. So 6th round pick for the New England Patriots. You guys know the rest of the history 7 rings later. That story of him just being determined, going from the University of Michigan to the Patriots, leading them to 6 Super Bowl rings, going to Tampa to another Super Bowl ring, and all that's in there, you can't just not hate the guy and be like, wow, this is the passion and effort right there. And that's why a lot of the time when I'm in my own determinate mindset or my own passionate drive, I call it the Brady complex. And even when I was studying for my huge CPA lessons exam, I was like back against the wall because my exams were going to expire, or my exam scores were going to expire, all 3 of them. And I decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to study, or sorry, 2 of them, and I'm going to study for the last 2 and get these done within a 2-month time frame. And I did it because I, was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to stick my mind to it. And boom, it was done. And yeah, your boy got it. So at least that's what I call it. That's what I call it. It'll probably come back for this creation thing eventually, but for now it's we're just having fun with it.
I think that there is, so the easiest way for me to deal with passion or to bring it up. So I love cooking and baking. Like I love being in the kitchen. I love working with food. I love serving food to people and then having them be like, oh my God, this is amazing. However, I would never do that as a job because that to me is where it goes away. Now, in the content creation world, essentially a lot of people are like, well, this is my job. Like I pay my bills with this. Okay. But to me, the passion never goes away because it's always evolving into something different. There's always something else you can do to change it up, where chefs who actually do it, they see it that same way. They can always create a new dish. They can always work with new ingredients. For me, when I have to do it and it becomes something that is, if I don't do this, then other shit doesn't get done. It become you lose a little bit of that passion because now it's just like, but a passion is something that you don't lose sight of, regardless of whether it's paying your bills or not. Like it's what drives you, it's what moves you, it's what you're cool with waking up and sitting in meetings about it or making plans about it or doing whatever, putting in the work that goes into it because it doesn't feel like work. And that's not to say that it's not going to feel like work every day. I mean, there are going to be days where you're just like, fuck, I'm so over this. But then if you have more days where you're like, oh my God, like this is amazing, like this is my life, then to me that's the difference between something you just like to do and something that is you're genuinely passionate about. One of my best friends, also used to be a roommate of ours, has a huge passion for baking. Like that is his long-term, he wants to own his own bakery. He went to school for it. He freaking loves baking and he is damn good at it. But it is not feasible in this moment in time for him to do that. And I hate what that's doing to him because he's just like, he thinks about it a lot, all the time. And he talks about it. And he's like, I just want to do this. And this is what I want to do. But he doesn't lose hope for it because that is literally his motivational drive. And that to me is what a passion is. So in content creation, if you're getting up and you're just like, oh, I have to stream, I have to come up with a stream plan, I have to actually organize this. If you're not on fire for what you do, is it really a passion? Like or is it just something that you like to do? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it not being your sole passion and what motivates you. I thought photography was it for me. So before I did streaming and content creation, I did another way of content creation. I was a photographer, and I love being a photographer. I love being behind the camera. I find planning sessions with my clients, to me, that's relaxing. Like, I like editing, I like the delivery, I like being behind the camera and capturing those moments. Like, I love everything about photography. But it got to a point where I was just like, all I could see was what I was missing. And I stopped appreciating what I had, and I was missing what I had because all I could see was what was over there. And
You mean all you could see was the negatives?
I like looking at negatives. It's literally.
Well, it sounds like you're a very toxic person then, Cali.
Listen, I focus a lot on the negatives, but literally and figuratively. But that's just kind of like, I thought photography was my passion. I thought this is what I am meant to do. I am meant to be a photographer. And then a really big thing happened in my family. It was a really big tragedy. So my focus was maternity clients and newborns. And we had a thing happen that made that impossible. Now, to me, if it really was truly my passion, I could have worked through that eventually. I mean, grieving, the process of loss and grieving, like, that takes time, but I could have worked through it. I can honestly say I have not touched my camera in 2 years. And at all. Like, it is still sitting in the hard case. I haven't touched it. I've thought about it every now and then, but I haven't. I've had no drive or passion. Actually, we're going into our 3rd year now because I just haven't had. I haven't wanted it. I haven't wanted anything to do with it. So then it made me sit back and go, wait, was this really a passion of mine, or was it just something that I like to do? Because there's a difference between the two. Where content creation, I have a drive for this. Like, if I'm not live or hanging out in someone else's stream, half the time when I am hanging out in someone else's stream or watching their YouTube videos, it's always on my mind. Like, it is, I'm always like, oh man, what about this and this and this? Unfortunately, you know that very well because I'm like, hey, I have a stream idea. And it's now this running joke that I feel like that we have where I'm just like, so I had a stream idea. And like, that's just, but it's literally, I have been like almost asleep and then gotten up and I'm just like, oh man, I have this idea and I've got to tell someone right now. And then it's just like, why? But I'm so on fire for it that's how I know that this is a passion for me. Like, this is something that I want to do. Will it always be that way? God, I hope so. Like, I really, it's something I really want to do. I genuinely enjoy it. But that also means that while, yes, eventually I would like this to pay my bills, I would like to be verified on multiple apps. I would like for people to be like, damn, did you catch Hotseat with Phoenix and Cali? Or have you hung out in the hangout lately? Like, I would love that to be an actual thing someday. But I am okay with it not being a thing right now.
Excuse me.
Mm-mm. So, give me 1 second, y'all. I'm so sorry. Phoenix, go ahead and just give me 1 second.
All right. So while Callie is gone, I guess we will go ahead and bring in a word from our sponsor. This is Phoenix Hair Tonic from Friendship Supreme. And so with Phoenix Hair Tonic, you just simply open or spray, because they come in spray bottles, the tonic. With the non-spray bottle I have, all you'll need to do is dip your hair into the water, take off the headphones, and then proceed to move all of your hair to the front of your face and just do what Phoenix does and have the most
We
majestic hair
don't
flip on
practice
Twitch.
familial interruptions. This is what happens.
Phoenix Hair Tonic, now available at the Rising Store, Rising Sporting Goods, on the Phoenix Rising Discord.
I'm sorry. I apologize for the interruption. Normally, I am not on mom duty on hot seat nights, but there was a real life situation that made that a thing. So
I am not Belle Daphne. I'm not going to sell my bath bomb water and then start doing porn. Jesus. I have standards. Plus,
Now.
Phoenix would not be involved with that. Like, she would not be on board with it anyways. So that's completely out the window.
But anyways, so like that's kind of like, if you don't wake up excited to do what you do, whatever it is, can you really say that you're passionate about it? Like that's kind of my thing. So segueing into that, what is something that you are so insanely passionate about that people say, oh, you're toxic, but you're not, you're just passionate about it? Or do you have anything like that?
I think it's just the advocate of being an advocate for everybody, and just being the person that wants to have both sides be heard. I'm a crusader for just making sure that both sides of the stories are established to ensure that, not one side is getting skewed or getting favored. And with that, you've got to be loud. You got to be the loudest mouth in the room to make sure that, your story is being heard as well, because the other side could be 20 times louder. And I think that people take that from me for granted, or take that for me as toxic or being toxic. And I really don't think that's the case. I think that a lot of people's bias just gets in their way, and it just sucks, because then you're just kind of out in the open at that point. Both content creation and in real life, I think it just happens way too much.
I mean, I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing. Like, I don't know. Like we said earlier, like, it's different for everybody. To me, that's not a bad thing. There are so many other things that you could, be loud about. And so being loud about making sure that, everybody sees all sides to the coin.
Yeah.
You know how they say there's 3 sides to every story. There's yours, mine, and actually what actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's not necessarily a bad thing, making sure that everything is in the light.
Yeah.
But That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I guess.
My toxic trait is if someone told you that you're toxic for that, they're an idiot.
Yeah, I guess some, like, for a great example, it's just more or less, at least get rolling back into the content world. I'm this type of person that just wants to make sure that I'm in alignment with everything going on. Um, because there's some situations where, I'll be absent because of real life stuff, or just, clouded with things going on related to, like, passion to some degree. And so um I probably won't be around as much for some people, but then something brings me back in, and I just want to be like, hey, just trying to figure out what the hell is going on here. And then, somebody comes back and says, you want to talk because you're not active here either. It's just like, oh, yeah, I guess fuck me for having my own things going on, but then neglect everything else that I've done. But I don't, mention, like, do you know how much I sacrifice in the back end and whatnot, and, like, the resources I provide to you? Because that's also just that's gaslighting, and I don't want to do that. So I
So
just
to
tell them, like,
me,
yeah,
that is a toxic thing, not what you just said. But the people that go, oh well, what do you mean? Yeah, I might not be active, but I've done A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And like, let me list all of the shit that I've done for you. And I'm guilty of that. I have done that where, somebody's calling me out for something and I'm like, okay, but I've done blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, hold up. Like, nobody asked for your whole life story. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to know that you decided not to go to the grocery store because you guys needed milk because you were hanging out in my chat instead, like, or whatever it is. I'm shit at metaphors today. But like, I think that is toxic in itself, because if you're trying to, like you said, gaslight someone, if you're trying to guilt someone into, that goes back into toxic loyalty, where it's just like, wait a second, if I've done all of this for you, how can you say that I'm not enough? And that's toxic for yourself. That's toxic for the people in the conversation. That's toxic for people in the community, because you shouldn't have to explain that you've done all of these other things. That also goes into personal, I guess this is my personal hot take in general, where I cannot stand people who use the word blessings and then have to boast about it. I was able to bless somebody with blah, 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 blah. I did this. It's different when the person you did it for is boasting for you. Oh my God, Johnny down the road did blah, 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 and you're just like, thank you. It's not that big of a deal to me. And maybe it was a huge deal, but it's different when you're sitting there and you're going, oh, well, I blessed someone with da-da-da. No, you're using them to boost your ego and put yourself out there. And that's not the same thing. It is not the same thing as quietly doing something else.
Yeah. Okay. So that one I definitely had to jump in on. And
very good.
Fun fact about me that people probably don't know is that I took I took a quote unquote free seminary course within my college career, and actually didn't remove it because I ended up not going to seminary. But I did grow up in a Christian household and still have those Christian values, embedded in the back of my head, even though I really don't accept those anymore. Anyways, digressing. But that is prime example of vanity right there. And even though it's not one of the 7 deadly sins, I think pride is.
Yeah.
And there's still things that, even to my, times of going to church and listening to sermons and all that, that always stuck with me. And I know specifically which creators you're talking about that had done that for some Christmas thing. Yeah, I mean, I hate to break it to you, but if you've got to compensate for that fact that you were able to bless somebody with $100, $200, you're as bad as the person that is stealing, because I didn't want to say another like morbid or major sin in a way and then have Hotmess Hotseat go down. But yeah, you're bad as the person that is stealing from a child, bragging about how much money you're giving to people. I don't care. And if it fits your ego, cool. But you are definitely being deemed toxic for that because of being uncomfortably, I guess, boastful about it.
I think
Great that you have the resource to do it, but
personally, like I have back in September, like the community within that I'm my friends pulled off this amazing, it still to this day blows me out of the water. Like the just indescribable generosity that was shown to my family. That I mean, it's shown all the time, but this was just like above and beyond. Like y'all showed up for me, and I had to hunt down who was responsible because nobody would take credit for it. And I was like, I just want to know who organized it so I can properly thank them. And because I couldn't find it immediately, like I already in my head had plans to list everyone. And there is an image that has been posted on Twitter. It's been posted in my Discord. Like it is something that I'm so proud of, like all the names on this list for all the people that showed up and they gave, and people were just, I had anonymous donations that I was like, I don't even thank you. Like, I would like to thank you, but that's just who I am. And people are like, I don't need the thanks. Like, this is, we just did this because we felt you were deserving of this. And, you know, you do XYZ and we wanted to give back to you a little bit. And it was a lot of it. Like, it was, I cried for the longest time. I think I did pretty good at keeping together on stream, and I want to really give credit to the alcohol because I kept it together on stream that night really, really well. But like after the fact, when I was just talking to my husband about it, I was like, I can't believe that the community did this for me. Like this was just, why? Like I'm just me. But it took me a couple days to hunt down like the people who are solely responsible for that, who you know put it together, who organized it. Shout out to French and Eternal Night, and you know you and Captain and Bonnie and like all. Oh no,
all that credit goes to French and Eternal. I was just invited there, so
it was the most amazing thing. Like I can't, seriously, like even still, like there are no words that will cover my gratitude for that. Like it meant everything to me. I can tell you that all of the money that was raised for that went into my husband's surgery. My husband had surgery the week prior to us having surgery. Both him and I were down with COVID. We had no AC in the house. It was the middle of summer in the South. Like it was shit. Like I was just in a really shit situation and y'all just showed up. But nobody was like, oh, I just donated $300 to Cali and da da da. I had to literally go find that information. And when you are doing something for somebody on that level, it's really cool. And it feels really good to be recognized because it's like, yeah, I did that thing. But if that's the only reason why you're doing it is for the recognition, that in itself is extremely toxic. And it's not, why? Like, just don't. I would rather, and that's not to say that, you know, if someone was decided to come in here and they're like, I'm going to give you $1,000 right now. I'm not saying, and then turns around and goes, I just gave Cali Gal $1,000. It's not going to make me any less thankful. Like, I'm going to be super grateful and super thankful for it. The difference is, it just, to me, it dims it a little bit. Like, it turns it into this, like, wow, this amazing thing, versus this like, did you really do that because it's something that you wanted to do for me? Or did you do it because you were hoping that it was going to be like, oh, well, I did this, so...
Now, I think that we should take a step back as well, because with me being a thoughtful person as well, just making sure, to have the full circle and full picture, because I don't want us to be hypocrites and, just to touch this point. There are other creators out there, bigger creators, Mr. Beast, of course, that his videos literally focus on more philanthropic opportunities, like putting on Squid Game events for all these folks. I don't think they were all content creators. No, yeah, he built up a whole Squid Game set and then gave out, I think, like $340,000, because that was the equivalent of how much Korean won, or won it would be. But with that content, that's expected. That a lot of money is going to go into this, so there's no toxic nature of what Mr. Beast is trying to do. I think that for anybody, again, watching this either live or on YouTube, sub to the YouTube, what we're getting at is content creators that make a tweet of, I donated, X amount of money to these people, when we know that their niche is not related to philanthropic. Like, good for you, but once again, keep your actions quiet unless it's a
And that's my
environment that
point.
you create that.
I mean, so, okay, so if you want to, Mr. Beast literally, that's literally what his content is, or at least all of the content that I've ever seen. That is what it's always been. But even he's not like, I just gave this person $100,000, or one of my very first Mr. Beast video that I ever watched was them literally giving this house to this pizza delivery guy, and then ordered pizza, had him deliver the pizza to the house, and then at the end they were like, oh, by the way, this is your house. And they had, like, the dude had a daughter, and they, like, redid the daughter. Like, it wasn't him going, look what I just did, look what I just did. It was literally more about the person he did it for versus what, because he always takes the time at the end, because they're always like, why would you do this? And then he goes, because you do blah 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 blah. Like, they have a whole thing about it, and it's just this whole thing. So that's different, like, to me, than just like you were just saying, just someone being like, oh, well, normally I do this, but yesterday I gave, let's just pretend for a second that I'm super successful. The difference is me going, I just went into Real Phoenix TV stream and I just gave him $550 today.
Oh boy, that's
and yesterday I gave him $300, and the day before that I gave him, $100, and we're just gonna keep upping it until we reach a certain amount. Like, that's not what my content is. And to me, that is just me trying to bring people in. Oh, well, if I become a part of your community, that means you're going to do that for me, right? It's inviting yourself for people to look for things from you, which you already get. The more successful you get, you already have people coming looking for, well, maybe it'll rub off. Maybe if I'm associated with this person, it will boost me. It will help me make it. It will help me get there. Content creation is a very selfish thing. 9 times out of 10. And the difference is, if you're already about that, if that's how you started, from what I know, that's how Mr. Beast has always his content has always been that way. It's always been this, we're doing these crazy outlandish financial things for these people, but it's about what they're doing, not the dollar sign on what they're doing. Does that make sense? Like, does that...
Yeah, there's been some things where it's just like, wait, you did what? Like they ordered a $70,000 pizza, and then also before that went on a big old New York like fancy schmancy, I'm talking like $1,000 entree meal, smorgasbord before that. But that's just some other content outside of that lines. Again, it's Mr. Beast. It's what you expect. For the bigger streamers, you don't expect all that to be going down in the realm of a streamer or content creator.
Mhm.
But if you'll excuse me, I'm going to give you this opportunity to go ahead on a break, and I will return very shortly.
Okay. So, is there anybody who's hanging out in chat? I know a lot of you are lurking. I know a couple of you had to dip out already. But if there's anything that you guys see, sponsor number 2. No, I'm not as creative as Phoenix. I don't have hair tonic, hair water. So, but if there's anything that you guys think that you want to add, the difference between being toxic or just being passionate about something, we would love to hear from you. Make sure you follow our Twitter. We post on Twitter before every show about things that are relating to the show. That one's mine, French. Thank you though. I appreciate you. If you do, I think it's Hotseat. There you go. So, there's the Twitter link for the Hotseat Twitter. Make sure you follow us there. It's the best way to get updates on what we're doing on the show, when the show is, who we're going to be featuring on the show. We're constantly looking for new people, for new topics. If you think that there's something that you would really like us to cover, drop us a tweet, send us a DM, kick it back this way. Like, I can't promise that we'll pick it up, but I can promise that it will be at least looked into. I really genuinely enjoy doing this, and that's why I like bringing other guests on and other hosts. When I first pitched this to Phoenix, I was like, hey, I want to do this thing, and I don't know how to do it, but this is what I think we want to do. And he fully encouraged me. He was like, go for it. Oh my God, that is a burger. So he was just like, just go for it. Like, just jump in and then we'll just kind of figure it out. So that's why season 1 was only 4 episodes, because we were trying to figure it out. Now we're, into season 2. It's going to go up and down. We are going to try to give you guys something funny and entertaining hand in hand with something that is serious. So like last Hot Seat, we got to hang out with Friendship Supreme and the duo that is Friendship Supreme, and it was amazing. I had such a fun time just like hanging out and getting to know them, and that is essentially what this is. Hot Seat is all about just friends, like chilling, talking about something serious, doing something funny. I'm so jealous about your burger right now. It's not even it is toxic that you are eating a burger in front of me right now. Like, I am passionate about burgers.
One tasty burger.
I am passionate about burgers, okay? Like, I love burgers. I am a burger girl, and you're just gonna sit there and eat your damn burger. Just eat your burger. Just eat it. Eat the whole burger. Okay, so French says, a friend of mine said toxic relationships are passionate because passion is the only thing that fuels it, since it cannot run on love, trust, or genuineness. Is that a word? Do you agree with this statement? Yes and no. I think that toxic relationships maybe start with passion. Passion and toxicity, we kind of talked about this early before. They kind of do go hand in hand, right? Usually where there's one, you will find the other. But there's a very fine line between toxicity and passion. From what, are you trying to offer me a French fry? Like, is this what we're doing?
Yeah, you want one? Just get it from across the screen. Here.
I don't want the ow!
Fine,
Why would you throw a French fry at me? Stop it! No!
No.
No. You know what? Anyways, so I think that they all go, I don't want the French fries, I wanted the burger, and you were just like devoured the damn burger. So, I'm gonna be toxic and say you're wasting. Right? He is wasting fries. They must not be good. If this mofo pulls out another burger and chicken nuggies, oh, you're fired. You know what? Everybody say bye, Phoenix.
Bye, Phonic.
Thank you, though. So I think that toxic relationships can be passionate, and you can be passionate about something while also being toxic. Like, that goes back into, you know, the question that I asked him a little bit before. What is something you're so passionate about you almost seem toxic? For me, I guess one of the things is probably motherhood. Like, I am beyond passionate about being a mom. I love being a mom. It is the hardest, most epic thing that I have ever been blessed to do, is getting the opportunity to be a parent and a mom. But damn, am I not judgmental. And I try very hard not to. Every mom is different. Every parent has their own way to parent their kids, but it is also the most toxic job out there. Because if you are in a store and you hear a kid screaming, just freaking losing their shit over something that they want, and their mom said no, and they're just screaming and throwing a temper tantrum, and mom is not doing anything. Hi, that's me. I'm one of those people. I'm one of those moms where I will tell my kid no, and if he throws a temper tantrum, I kind of do the quietly, if you don't knock it off kind of like thing, but then it is what it is. If he's gonna act a fool, he's gonna act a fool. And people look at me and they're like, why aren't you doing anything? Because that's not how I parent. Like, if he wants to be stupid, let him be stupid. Like, he will learn when we get home. Because I'm also big on correct in private, not in public. I think correcting in public just opens a whole other door. So it is something that is toxic passion still passion? Yes. Like, 100%. You can be passionately toxic about something and it's still a passion. It doesn't mean that you're not toxic.
Again, toxic passion is inside, invented the the phrase, is having that drive or that uncontrollable emotion towards something that pervasively puts people into a situation or an ultimatum. For example, we said support for support, or if you don't do this and you're dead to me, like, if you guys don't show up, don't consider coming back. Something like that.
It is, yeah. And I mean, you can, like you just said, in content creation, you can be so on fire for content that it makes you toxic in the sense where you're just like, oh, well, if you're not here, clearly you don't care. So French also said, why is it that, at least in my IRL life, the more insane and toxic a relationship is, the more love I feel, and the other person too, and the harder it is to leave it, while peace and stability in relationships feel like a lack of passion or love? That is a very loaded question. That says something about you and the person that you're in the relationship with.
I will take this one, gladly take this one over. Because I unfortunately have witnessed a few bouts of, excuse me. Oh god, the McDonald's burst. Excuse me.
You're
Well,
eating a burger
whatever.
and I have a salad. But I'm hype about this damn salad.
Let's go! Salad! But
I just don't eat on stream. So.
Live a little, eat on stream. Anyways, I unfortunately have witnessed a couple of friends fall into toxic relationships. from a general standpoint, what will happen is both parties know that they're no good for each other, but are blinded to each other, thinking that there is no way out. There's some kind of codependence built up, which then also brings in the loyal toxicity. That is definitely something that both parties will have to determine when enough is enough for themselves, or else they will fall into the same cycle. I have never really dealt with relationship toxicity or being in a toxic relationship. I typically just say that I'm just a moron most of the time if I do have conflicts with Mrs. Phoenix, because I'm an idiot and I just say stupid shit here and there, and
She's gonna come through that door and
I'll be proud to admit it. No, fortunately, she will not. She will text it to me before she comes through the store because she is camera shy. So I think I got that for me. But yeah, she'll I'll have an earful if there is anything about it. But I've definitely had a case of patriarchal toxicity.
Phoenix is proving
Man,
he
we
went
are
to
getting
college. She's just dropping all the
we are
damn
getting
buzzwords.
we are getting deep today because I don't know why I'm feeling called to say talking about any of this. But anyways, my dad unfortunately and I don't are not on the best speaking terms. Typically what happens, well, what had happened is there's this cycle that I always talked about, like where he would try and have talking terms with me. I would still avoid it. Eventually I would end up talking with him. We would have a falling out because of something that he did. And then again he would try and reset that cycle to communicate with me. And so um unfortunately, I said that there enough was enough one day and just decided to go my separate way with him after, dealing with the last uh event that was just unfathomable, and what he had said to me just cannot be removed from my brain. Um so I don't really deal with him. Uh for any toxic relationships that you see yourself in, it's going to come with the gaslighting, the honeymoon stage that you think everything is good, but in reality it really is shit, with a lot of the people that care about you that will tell you that, but in a indirect way to not hurt your feelings. So if you are experiencing a toxic relationship, um there is either an event that will happen that you'll need to figure out quickly in order to exit that relationship, or you'll find yourself in a constant cycle of good, bad, ugly, good, bad, ugly, good, bad, ugly, until you just don't deal with it anymore. And maybe the worst scenario happens, or maybe y'all just, like the cycle and stick with it.
I think for me, I don't get in a lot of toxic romantic relationships. For me, it's friendships. And that goes back to me wanting to be a people pleaser and not wanting to hurt people's feelings. Now, again, there's something to be said for the closer you are to me. It's not so much the less I give a fuck about your feelings, but I am more apt to not tiptoe around your feelings the closer you get to me. And that's just a level of comfortability that you get with people as they become closer. I mean, it's it's said that the closer you are to someone, the more you are likely to hurt them. But it is, for me, it's friendships. Like, I get in the most shitty situations a lot of times when it comes to my friendships because I don't know how to walk away. Like when I need to walk away and just be done with something, I don't do it. I will literally push and push and push and push and push myself until I can't breathe anymore, and I feel like I'm suffocating because I'm like, but I can't. And a lot of that is my own self toxicity, where I'm just like, but it's done XYZ, or this person has done ABC, and I owe it to stick it out and stick through it, and it drives my husband insane. There are so many times where he's just like, just walk the fuck away. Like, it doesn't have to be that serious. And I'm like, but it is that serious. Like, it is. I can't just walk away. Like, I can't just stop talking to that person. Like, that's not how it works. Like, they're gonna think that they did something wrong, and then he's like, but they did do something wrong. Like, it's just, it's something that I can't. It is the biggest struggle for me. So for me, it's not so much toxic relationships as it is toxic friendships, which in itself is a relationship. But I hate it. And it really, really, really affects me when I do have to finally cut ties and walk away from something. Like, it hurts. Really good example of this. About mid-year last year, I had to walk away from a community that I had poured my heart and soul into, and it affected me in a big way. Like, I was upset for a long time. I was at peace with my decision to walk away. Like, I knew this is what I needed, and I needed to do it, and I just bit the bullet and did it. But the aftermath was that I was genuinely upset for a while. And there's every now and then, I can finally say that I think I'm finally over it all the way for the most part. I'm like 90% over it. There are some times where I'm just like, damn, I really miss whatever it is. Luckily, I was able to become part of a better, stronger community, in my opinion. That is just, it's more amazing in the sense that it's more supportive of the people within the community and not so much trying to get something out of the community. And
we're making her say all this, by the way.
I genuinely appreciate the new community that I'm a part of. It doesn't mean that I don't miss the old one sometimes, but that's kind of what happens when you pour all of your soul into someone or into something, and then it just shits on you, and you're just like, wait, like, what? Like, it's painful. Like, for me, it's super painful for me to just do that. Now, if you're not in my inner circle, because I have the inner circle, then there's an inner circle, and then there's like the circle of friends, right? That I have. If you're not in my inner circle, and I just flat out tell you that I hate you, or that you're an idiot, or like I just completely am spiteful, I guess you could say, if we're gonna take the toxicity out of it, and I'm just being spiteful and just saying really shitty things, and you're not a part of someone who is close to me, it really means that I probably didn't really give a fuck to begin with. But that doesn't mean it won't affect me. Because people who aren't close to me, if I hurt your feelings, like, that sucks to be you.
My feelings are hurt now.
But when you're, I don't know, when the closer you are to me, the more I'm just like, fuck your feelings, but I love you.
Ping pong.
Like, it's just, my husband is probably the biggest victim of that situation, where it's just, there's a lot of times where I'm just like, yo, I don't give a shit. I don't care how you feel. I don't care what you feel. Like, this is how I feel, and just get the fuck over it. But at the end of the day, if somebody else were to come at him that way, I would probably run them over with my car. Like, you don't get to talk to him that way. He's my husband. Really good example of that. We were sitting with his parents. His parents said something that I was just very anti. And I was like, listen, I can hate him, but you can't. Like, that's not okay for you to say that shit to him. And then it's just like, but you say that shit all the time. And it's like, that's different. Like, I'm there every day, because at the end of the day, it doesn't, to me, it doesn't matter what I'm feeling. I know that I'm ride or die for him. I'm gonna be there for him despite what I say. I might tell him I hate you and I wish you would just like evaporate. But then if he actually did evaporate, I'd be like, shit, like where the hell did you go? Like come back. What, how dare you evaporate? Like it's just, it's one of those things that is just, and it's, I mean, it's the same thing for my Hotmess stream board. You know who you are. If all of a sudden you just decided, yo, fuck Cali, fuck the Hotmess hangout, I'm out. Like I never, and you just disappeared, I'd be like, excuse me? Like
French
what?
check your DMs. French check your DMs.
So it would just be one of those things, you know, that it's just like, okay, like it would be, I don't know. It would, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. It would just be one of those things where it's just like, it's not okay. So sometimes I'm the toxic person in the relationship because I just, the closer you are to me, the more I'm just going to tell you exactly what's on my mind and I don't care. And I feel, it's funny because I feel like it's opposite with you, Phoenix. Like I said in the beginning, like when I first judged you and thought that you were the most toxic person ever, I feel like the closer you get to you, the less toxic you become. Like the closer you get to Phoenix's inner circle, the nicer he is. Like he's just, y'all, do not sleep on Phoenix. Like he is a really, really good fucking friend. Like he is amazing.
I guess, and this is just gonna segue from the discussion, but there is a whole reason why that is the case, and I think a lot of people do feel that way. When you do get sick and tired of being, I guess, used or put as a joke, you've got to build the walls up, and also the internet is a really great place for that. So you know that alter ego does come out a little bit, but yes, don't judge a book by its cover, especially here. Just don't. I mean, be kind to people. There are, again, flesh and bones on the end of the computer screen. You know, I may sometimes have a little bit of bane, or is bane the correct word? Yes. I may like do not pet when hungry, or do not feed dog, or something like that, or beware of beast. It's just, you know, everybody has their guards up sometimes to not get crashed and burned, and I've been crashed and burned way too many times. So if you do realize that, you know, you're just a human being, congratulations, you won yourself a friend. But I digress.
So
do feed after midnight, though. Please do.
In my house, if you didn't feed me after midnight, I would probably just eat you, and not in a suggestive way. Like I'd Hannibal Lecter in that. That's, wait, hold on, wait.
And it's gone.
Fired. You're all fired. Everybody is fired.
A2!
Yes, it is.
A2!
I mean, I'm surprised that I didn't do the other one.
You want to explain yourself?
No.
Oh, so you don't want to explain yourself?
Oh my god. You can't T-sip on that. People are gonna think I'm weird. So oh my god, no. This is terrible. Why are we friends? Like, I don't understand.
If you guys want a Phoenix TMO, please send out 10 bits or 10 gifted subs to Cali.
Oh my god.
Yes. If you want a real Phoenix TMO, send 10 gifted subs to somebody who is not to the co-host of the show, or the main host of the show. Y'all know what I mean. And I will put my own animated TMO up. Do you know how weird that sounds?
What? To put your T emote up?
To put my own T emote on my channel up for somebody else's game. Oh my god! Oh my god!
What did you just do, Phoenix? We're supposed to be recording this as a live podcast, and you're just like fucking it all up. Thank you, French, for the 10 gifted subs.
Callie, it's called editing this part out.
Oh my god, I don't edit videos. We all know. I just copy paste. Thank you, French, for the 10 gifted subs. I very much appreciate you. So don't tell me what to do. What is something?
Oh man.
I kind of like this idea of toxicity and passion going hand in hand. So, what is something that you are passionately toxic about?
Passionately toxic?
Yeah. Besides advocating, we talked about like advocating for people, and that's something that you're so passionate about that it makes you seem.
Man. I'm passionately toxic about justice.
Okay. Like in general or specific things?
Just I would say in general. And I think that I have somebody else who displays this very well. Won't list out the names though, but this person has been just like a freaking trailblazer on Twitter. Just at sometimes
you might as
people
well name drop it. Fuck it at this point.
I mean, honestly, I don't think that he'll be too upset. But I mean, sure, screw it. I mean, we've been name dropping whoever we need to. Raptastic, I think it's 17 or 13. I need to check before. I need to check so I have my facts straight. You know what I mean? Yeah, Raptastic 17. So, no doubt about it. He's been going after a social media company. We all know the app, Space App, for all of the stuff that has been going on. Now, personally, I believe that he is fighting the good fight for the 2, 3, 4 specific interactions that he noted. Did he go about it the wrong way? To some people, they would say yes. For me, honestly, the internet is fair game. Okay. Any tweets that you put out there, anything that you put out there is fair game. Discord DMs, hell, they can all come to light. All of them literally can come to light. So
pause. I'm gonna let you pick it up in just a second.
Okay.
The irony of this subject specifically is that I agree to disagree. I think that...
And this is a fun thing about it, because I want this to happen.
I think that... Has there been points made? Yes. Has there been things answered? Yes. I think that in very specific instances that he highlights, yes, something happened and it was not okay. Yes, it was handled kind of poorly. However, also being on the other side of the fence without getting myself in trouble, being on the other side of this specific company, like I have watched change internally happen. And this person continue to just harp on it. And it's one of those things that's like, okay, a mistake was made. Several other mistakes were made after that. However, we're coming up on almost a year of said incident. Let it go.
It really has been a year, hasn't it?
Almost. Yeah, it'll be this summer in July. I mean, so it's been like 7 months since it happened. So yeah, it's one of those things that's like, all right, yes, a big mistake was made. Several little mistakes were made after that. But the drama that continues to come up about it, the drama that continues to be brought up specifically by this person, and I'm not saying that he's not a good person. I'm not saying that he's awful or he's toxic or whatever. Like, that's not I don't know him, so it's not okay for me to make that judgment call, and it's not for
Yeah.
me to say. I do know the
Yeah.
other side of it, and is there toxic things on the other side of it? Absolutely, 100%.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
have they also worked their asses off to change that and to
Mhm.
fix it? 100%. And so it's kind of one of those things that it's like, okay, yeah, dude, I see your point. I saw your point. I understood it. You have to know, and to me, that's where being toxic comes in. You need to know when to just let lie. Like, sometimes things just need, it happened, it was there, it was shitty, let it go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, play.
And I think play. So, I see, and also I see it from like, you know, both of their perspectives, and I definitely, I guess, maybe have that bias towards him because I've never told my story before, and I think this is a prime example of him telling like the story as well. For me personally, I don't, I never really told it because I think I somewhat got over it after that second season NTS video and kind of was just like, let it all out and sabotage whatever thing I have. Again, which is really ironic because one of the founders said what's up in my stream a couple days ago, and I think my algorithm spot just went from good, like because I was getting interactions up. So I guess I didn't receive that well, but anyways, I digress. That whole personality of being passionately toxic is just something that I adore and respect because, again, it's something that he's standing up for is right. Although the changes haven't been made, there's obviously maybe some underlying reason of why it's still being harped on. Maybe because Space Apps has not come through and said what they needed to say publicly, you know, about the changes. Maybe there are NDAs and whatnot that have happened because it seems like, you know, a lot of things are non-disclosable. When I was specifically talking to somebody who is formerly part of the engagement team, like a lot of the things that I raised up when I initially kind of fought my fight back in, I think, June or July, was just like NDA. It was just like, oh, so they're putting you guys on gag order so that you guys won't be able to say anything to the public. Got it. Understand.
See, I don't see it like that.
Fly.
I see it as when you're starting.
Sorry, I'm actually
something...
parsing. I'm not like taking a sip just for effects, but
no, you're fine. Like when you're starting something that is as big as what it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
It is, I mean, as big as it already is and what it has potential to be. You have to protect it. I mean, you have to. And there is a lot of work going on. I was previously, a lot of people ask how I got my chalk mark on Space App, and because I wasn't announced that I was partnered with them. I worked for them or volunteered for them. So that's another thing that a lot of people need to understand is that it is a very, very small team and they are not being paid. It is 100% volunteer based.
Oh, yeah.
Now, there are obviously things that I can't talk about because I worked for them and I did see inside things that I can't talk about.
Yes.
But
please stop immediately. Don't get yourself in trouble.
I have a sense of pride for it. I mean, does that mean that I agree with everything currently going on or that I've agreed with everything that's gone on? Nope. But the same can be said for literally anything. Literally any company. There's no way to make everybody happy. The app has, I think the last time I checked, it had like 50,000 plus users on it. I'm sure it's more now. It's huge already. But the NDAs to me aren't they're putting up a wall where you can't say anything. They're protecting their baby, and it's not a bad thing in my opinion. Does it hinder people from speaking their mind to have been there, done that? Yeah. But there's a good
Yeah,
thing for
but
that too, though. There's
I think more of that was just the situation, like at least like the element of some of the things I was raising up, whereas some of the ideas or questions that I had to the specific community manager, I think that I was just like, wow, that's interesting that that would be under NDA, like, or at least most of this stuff would be, and like, I give you ideas, and it's just like, oh, okay, but um, like I said, at least for me, I saw the line in the sand where I needed to stop, and I didn't, or I did, when I needed to, because I didn't want to drag it further. Um, I think it was already said and done.
and that's the
And
difference, honestly. That is, I feel like, again, I don't know this person other than just the few Twitter interactions that I've seen, so I'm not going to label him as one thing or another. However, I will say that if you're going to continue to harp on a company because you strongly feel against them, you need to make sure you're harping on them for the correct reasons. And to
Mhm.
me, I feel like it started that way. And now it's like, okay, so you didn't like the answer that you were given, but you can't find anything else.
Yeah,
So you're going to continue to pull on this. And again,
but
I'm not
again,
saying that there is nothing else one way or there is something else. Like, I'm
mhm.
not saying it either way. I'm trying to remain neutral, but
Yeah,
it's one of those things that's like, if you're going to continue to essentially start drama and keep fueling that fire, make sure the gasoline that you're using is actually good gasoline. And you're
yeah,
not just you're recycling the same shit over and over again, which is what I see happening.
yeah. And I think the last couple of instances, it's not the app as a whole now. In full disclaimer, I mean, at least like from my perspective, individually, the app is okay. Like, I still somewhat use it here and there. I've found some people that I actually watch on, or at least try and watch on the regular. I think that this one was just targeting the individuals at least, and not the app as a whole, at least from Rab's point of view. Which, if that's the case, then it's just it's it's different gasoline. I think at this time, just the recurring theme of this thing at the top that they all share in common. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It
Okay.
is. It's definitely something that a lot of people, it's a hot topic right now, especially under this umbrella specifically for hot seat.
Yeah.
It is a very, very hot topic. Because it is a lot of the things that I'm sorry, my cat is just like, bro, go play please. So he ran away. Like, after the third time of me moving him, he ran. But thanks, cat. Oh, I was saying, okay, sorry. Uh, mom brain. I'm blaming that on being a mom. So, it's a big thing right now. A lot of the circles that we run in use this same app. A lot of the users within that are now I'd like to say a part of my community, and I'm a part of theirs, use this app.
Mhm.
I'm not against it. I mean, like, I'm very for it still. Like, it's something that I'm, even knowing some of the things I know, I am still 100% behind them. I'm a little bit more apprehensive about what I do and don't say, and that's because I don't really know where my gray area is at the moment. It's not so much black and white anymore as it was 4 or 5 months ago. It was very black and white then, and now everything's kind of a bit gray and muddy. And it's I don't really know what is or what isn't okay. And and that also goes with my people pleasing. I don't know what is safe to and not say publicly. But I feel that it's a good example of passionate toxicity. Like it is one of those things where it's just like, okay, this is an amazing tool for people to use, but it is also part of social media, which is toxic all in itself. Social media is a terrible place to live because it is either people sharing way too much information or people sharing only way too much of part of the information. I mean, that's where you get things that people are like, oh my god, my life is so amazing, and then you find out something terrible happened to them and all of these things come out and you're just like, I didn't know anything about that.
Oh yeah.
Really good example, like I said, I love Cheer. They came out with a show on Netflix about a specific college cheer team. One of the most favored members of that cheer team had a really big scandal attached to him, and when it came out, it was like, he did what? Like, excuse me? Like, that's not, no way in hell that's, and then when he's like, yeah, he admitted to it, you were just like, what? Like, it ruins everything. And that goes along with the fact that this platform that we're speaking about specifically, it's the same thing. Like, it's easy to talk about the good stuff and harder to talk about the bad stuff, but the bad stuff still happens. And when you get people who are very loud with the bad stuff, it kind of diminishes it a little bit. And it, for someone, I am passionate about it. I think it is a really good tool to use if it's used correctly. I think there are a lot of wrong ways to use it, and I think there are a lot of right ways to use it. And either way, what you do is up to the individual user, not so much the company as a whole. And I see a lot of people blaming the company for this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, wait a second, that was one specific incident, one specific user that you have a problem with, and you're bringing everybody into it. And so now, of course, everybody's going to have an opinion. Especially when you're tagging bigger creators who have bigger communities who are fiercely loyal to them. I feel like a lot of the drama that person has brought on themselves was self-imposed. Like, I feel like there was no reason to do what they've done. But, I mean, it's their life, it's their choices. Like, he went for it. Do you, boo-boo? Like, that's just, as long as you're prepared. And I feel that way about anybody. If you're going to make a choice, you better be damn prepared to deal with the consequences of that action, whether they be positive or negative. Every action, and I teach my 9-year-old this every time, every action has a consequence. Some consequences are good, some consequences suck. If you're not prepared to deal with the consequence of that action, don't fucking do it. And I feel like this person was not prepared. And now they're on the defensive side because they don't know how to get back on the offense. It's like a football game that has no offense. They just showed up with the defense. And it's like, bro. But I mean, it's not to say that he hasn't made some very, very valid points. Like, there have been some points where I'm like, I mean, yeah, I 100% agree with that. I just choose to be quiet about it. Because I am not prepared to deal with those consequences of me publicly acknowledging how I feel.
Oh yeah.
So I just don't. I just stay quiet.
Yeah, and I mean, that of course is a good route to take for someone who does not like the risk reward opportunity, the high risk and potentially high reward, or very reward, I should say, of throwing a tweet out on Twitter, or having some kind of stance on social media. Of course, sometimes it may end up hurting you with your current friends because they want you to make a stance, but at the same time, you just got to respect it, because again, if they are giving you ultimatams because of the fact that it's like, do something about this now, or else I'm not going to associate with you. That's kind of like the whole Spartan situation, to some extent of loyalty, toxicity. And it's just like, yeah.
Ultimatums for me, that is the most toxic thing you could say to me, is give me an ultimatum. And 9 times out of 10, if you give me an ultimatum, it's not going to go your way. If you look at me and you're like, do this, or I'm not gonna do that. Okay. Like, I don't, bye. Like, or if you don't stop doing this, then you're not gonna reap the benefits of this anymore. Well, that sucks. I guess I'll have to figure out another way to do that. I don't do ultimatums. Now, if it's something that I want to fight for, I will fight for it both ways, but I also don't I don't do ultimatums. Not in any aspect of my life. With the exception of parenting. That is because I co-parent. My son's father and I are not together. And that is the only person on this planet that has successfully given me an ultimatum, and I've had to deal with it instead of just walking away entirely. It's because it affected my child more than it affected me. So it's when you have to take the higher road in that sense, because there is a child involved who can't have a voice. But for anybody else, if you give me an ultimatum, most of the time I'm going to be like, well, it was nice knowing you. Peace out. I very rarely fight for someone who has given me an ultimatum. It is, and if I do fight for you after you giving me an ultimatum, you better feel damn special, because I don't just.
All right, Chad. Let's test this out. Mm-hmm. Keep me on hot seat, or else I blow up Twitter with slander Cali tweets.
You know what? Blow me up on Twitter with slander Cali tweets. So hot seat is now looking, we're now looking for another anchor co-host. So if you would like to, just shoot a DM at Hotmess Hotseat on Twitter. Join the Discord. Let me know that you're interested. This is Phoenix's last show. Nice to know you, man. Phoenix. I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say, well, damn. On that point, I guess we'll just wrap up this show, and moral of the story is, there's a fine line.
I mean, it's just one of those things that I don't deal with ultimatums. Like, they're just not. I think that is the most immature thing that you could do, is give someone an ultimatum. Like, it's not fucking cool. Like, it's, get over yourself. Who the hell are you to give somebody else an ultimatum? If you're not paying their bills, taking care of them in bed at night, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not contributing to their life in any way, shape, or form, who the hell are you to give them an ultimatum? Like, you don't have that right. That is not your right to give them an ultimatum. And that's just my opinion. Like, maybe, I don't know, maybe I am. Can I join in on these? Yes, Moon. Okay. So, Phoenix, do you want to promo the hot seat while I find us someone to raid? Unless you want to keep going. We can keep going.
Yes. I definitely can promote the hot seat. So, Hotmess Hotseat is a bi-weekly live podcast hosted on yours truly's Cali Girl 1992's Twitch channel. We do this around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We talk about various topics. So if you are interested, feel free to let us know within the Pillow Fort Discord what you're interested in. We do have some applications somewhere. Yes, we have an application within the Hot Seat Info channel. So whenever you decide to, am I frozen?
Probably.
Am I frozen on stream?
Probably.
I'm looking at myself. I'm like, wait a second. Okay. I'm not frozen anymore.
No,
cool.
You're probably frozen because I'm trying to look up someone to raid.
Oh, okay. I'm not frozen anymore. I was like, wait, what? But yeah, so we have applications open. We are definitely looking for, weekly co-hosts, or, I think we're looking for additional core co-hosts as well. So, if I want to take a vacation, I can. There are some requirements.
Are you telling me that you don't want to do hot seat with me anymore? Is that what you're saying?
Of course, I want to keep on doing hot seat. I'm just saying.
Chat, I think he's trying to leave me. I think that's what's going on. Like,
No, it's not that. I might have some concerts this summer that I'm gonna be like, yo, I might not be around because I'm gonna be at blankety blankety blank,
I
like
guess we'll
Riot
be doing
Fest.
hot seat IRL from your damn concert.
What's up, everybody? We're doing Hotmess Hotseat from Riot Fest 2022. Behind me is My Chemical Romance.
Watch me
Yo,
just get
we're at When We Were
DMCA'd
Young
all over the
Festival.
damn place.
Exactly. Yeah. See, that's not gonna happen because yeah, we're not gonna get DMCA strikes because you want me to stream from When We Were Young Festival where I'm going from like stage to stage to stage to see 5 minutes of every freaking band. Not gonna happen. Not gonna freaking happen. I know you want to see Warm 3 lives, but nah, not gonna happen. Anyways, yeah. So applications are within the Pillow Fort Hangout Discord. Send it your way. We review those. You must be 18 years and older, because we don't f with that minor stuff. We do not want Chris Hansen being up in here, being all like.
Why don't you have a seat right over there for me, please?
Because I'm not about that career. Anyways, and then yeah, we have some other rules as well that you can talk about and whatnot. And I think that I have had enough time to stall that you could find someone to raid, right?
Mhm.
Right? Okay.
So now you can just promo yourself.
Hi, I'm Phoenix. I suck at streaming. You can watch me. You can watch me give a bunch of noobs in the show tickets to Rage Quit Central, take the number 9 train to Shametown, and also slug the hell out of survivors on Twitch every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and every other Saturday on twitch.tv/RealPhoenixTV, and then Real Phoenix TV on all other platforms except for Space App. I'm just Phoenix there because I'm one of the OGs.
And of course, I'm Cali. This is
OGs.
oh my god, that zoom though was perfect. Did you see that? Oh my god. Anyways, so I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Every other Saturday I'm doing this. On the off Saturdays from this, we do community night. Mondays is variety night. Wednesday, Thursday is our story night. So definitely come.
Wait, hold up.
Mhm.
Don't you have some Rick rap battle going on Monday?
Not this Monday, but next Monday. The Monday the 7th, we have our very first Hot Mess Robo rap battle. I don't think I've announced that anywhere yet. So GG's to you for it's gonna be amazing. We're doing it through the Madverse City on Jackbox. It's gonna be a really good time. We do all kinds of shit. We play Jackbox, we play Pictionary, we play really scary games that give me nightmares. We do a little bit of everything. We're always a hot mess. We love everybody in our community. Everybody is welcome. So definitely come hang out and check us out. We are going to raid. We're going to change up the raid call just a little bit. So normally I do Cali raid or pillow fight. We're going to do hot seat raid.
No, we're going to do a
Give me some more slaps, daddy.
raid.
Oh my god. If you're a sub, there is a brand new hot seat emote. It looks like this. So we're gonna go raid a friend of mine who I haven't seen stream in a hot minute. And I'm very excited to go show him some love. So please go. Why did it say it's been canceled? I'm so confused. God, technology hates me. I swear to God. Technology hates me. Wait, is that person not online anymore? Phoenix, are you trolling me?
No, I'm not trolling you. I think French was, but here, I got it.
Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So please copy paste that raid message. Y'all have a fantabulous freaking evening. Thank you guys for tuning in and hanging out with us. I know this was a little bit of a long show. Definitely more of a serious one. Our next show is actually going to be really, really fun, and I'm really excited about it. So make sure you tune in. Y'all have a great night. Remember that you are loved, you are valid, you are worthy of being heard, and please don't pee on the floor. Have a fabulous night, everybody.